For centuries, we've asked ourselves, what really makes us human? We used to think, oh, it's our big brains, or maybe something special in our DNA. But what if the real secret, the real game changer, was something else entirely? A force so powerful it completely reshaped our species. Well, today, let's dive into how we became the most social species on this planet.
So what is it? What makes us so unique? I mean, let's be honest. We're not the strongest animal out there. We're not the fastest. Definitely not the toughest. And yet, here we are, having basically taken over the entire planet. The key, it turns out, isn't just one single trait. It's a whole strategy for survival that no other species has ever figured out.
And right here, you can see the fundamental split. Most animals, they're specialists. Their genes lock them into a specific place. A polar bear is perfectly built for the Arctic, a camel for the desert. But they can't switch. We humans, we're the ultimate generalists. Our secret weapon isn't our genes adapting, it's our culture adapting, which lets us thrive pretty much anywhere.
So yeah, that brings us to the absolute core of our story, culture. Around 200,000 years ago, something incredible started to happen. We didn't just have culture, culture became our #1 survival strategy. And that kicked off this super fast evolutionary process that, well, it changed everything. So what makes our culture so potent? Well, it really rests on two main pillars. First up is social learning. It's simple. We see someone do something new, and we can copy it. But the second one, and this is absolutely crucial, is what's called theory of mind. We don't just blindly copy what someone does, we get the why. We understand the intention behind the action. And that combination, that's what really sets us apart.
The result of this is something called cumulative cultural adaptation. It's a bit of a mouthful, but think of it this way. Chimpanzees, right? They might use a rock to crack a nut, and they might even pass that trick down. But 1,000,000 years from now, they'll probably still be using a rock in the exact same way. Humans? No way. We take an idea, we improve it, we mash it up with another idea, and suddenly we have something totally new. That simple hand axe becomes a better, hafted axe. Our knowledge just keeps building on itself.
Okay, but here's the crazy twist in the story. This amazing ability, the one thing that became our greatest strength, also created this huge, profound crisis for our early ancestors. It seriously threatened to tear our brand new societies apart and just stop all progress in its tracks.
Just think about it for a second. The ability to learn just by watching? I mean, that sounds like a perfect evolutionary trait, doesn't it? It's so efficient. Knowledge spreads like wildfire, and it helps the whole group. But there's a massive, hidden danger baked right in.
What happens when you spend weeks, maybe months, figuring out the absolute perfect design for a fishing lure, and I just watch you from across the river, copy it in 5 minutes, and maybe even catch the best fish before you do? I get all the reward of your hard work for none of the cost.
And this is the crisis of visual theft. As soon as social learning is widespread, the smartest, most logical thing for you to do is to hide your best ideas, right? But if everyone hides their innovations, that cumulative culture we talked about, it grinds to a halt. Society just collapses under all the suspicion and mistrust. So how on earth did we solve this?
Well, our ancestors evolved an answer that is so weird, so counterintuitive, it basically breaks the normal rules of evolution. We developed this radical new way of thinking, a new kind of social psychology. We became ultra-social. It's this state of intense, group-focused cooperation that's, frankly, unlike anything else in nature. And this led to behaviors that make almost zero sense in the rest of the animal kingdom. We cooperate, all the time, with people we're not even related to. We share our food, we take care of the sick, we work together on these massive projects. These are acts of altruism. And why do them? Well, in a world of visual theft, you had to prove you were a worthy, trustworthy partner, someone worth sharing your best ideas with. Our altruism, our generosity, essentially evolved as a kind of advertisement. The best way to think about it is like a peacock's tail. The peacock grows that magnificent, huge, costly tail just to signal how fit it is to potential mates. Well, we perform these costly acts of kindness to signal our value as a partner in cooperation. It's how we convinced everybody else, hey, I'm a good bet. Share your ideas and resources with me. But just showing off how cooperative you are is only half the solution. To manage this whole fragile new system of trust and trade, we needed a powerful new tool. We needed a social technology that could handle all of our complex deals. And that technology, of course, was language. See, language isn't just for describing the weather. It evolved because we were the first species with something complicated enough to even talk about, our social lives. We needed it to negotiate deals, to coordinate what we were doing, and, crucially, to keep track of who was a good cooperator and who was, a cheater.
Let's take a really simple example. Imagine you're a great bow maker, and I'm a great arrow maker. Without language, if we try to trade, it could end in disaster. I give you my arrows, you might think they're a gift and just walk off. But with language, we can actually talk. We can negotiate a fair deal that benefits both of us. Language is the tech that makes that kind of cooperation possible. And the Neanderthals are a really fascinating puzzle here. We know from their DNA that they had the FOXP gene, which is linked to the fine motor control needed for speech, so they might have been able to talk. But then you look at the archaeological record. There's almost no evidence of that cumulative culture. No real art, no complex tools getting better over time. And this theory of visual theft might explain why. They had the hardware for speech, but they lacked the ultra-social need for it. They hadn't solved that cooperation problem first.
So this whole evolutionary journey has one last, absolutely incredible consequence. Our cooperative culture didn't just change how we dealt with each other. It actually started to change us as individuals, shaping our very talents and skills.
Think about what we did to dogs. Through selective breeding over thousands of years, we created this incredible variety of breeds, each with specialized skills. Well, in a really strange way, our culture did the same thing to us. Once we could trade our skills and services, it paid to specialize. Our societies created these little niches for musicians, for mathematicians, for athletes, allowing all this diversity of human talent to really flourish. You could say our culture domesticated us.
And what's wild is that we can actually see this in our DNA. Starting around 40,000 years ago, right when we see this explosion of art and complex tools in the record, hundreds of our genes just started to evolve faster. Our biology and our culture were locked in this incredible feedback loop, with each one pushing the other forward.
And that really brings us to this powerful summary from the author, Mark Pagel. When you step back and look at the whole grand picture, this is our story. We are the descendants of the ones who figured out that working together, building trust and sharing ideas could achieve so much more than endless conflict ever could.
And what's so important to realize is that this isn't just ancient history. This ancient psychology is still running the show today. In our huge, globalized world, the fundamental challenge is exactly the same. How do we get people to cooperate? And the answer is the same as it was 100,000 years ago, by building trust and a sense of shared identity and values.
Which, of course, leaves us with one last really vital question. Our ultra-social nature was built inside small, tribal groups that were all bound together by a shared story. Today, we're a global tribe. So, in a world that often feels so fractured and divided, what is the shared story that can bind us all together now?